Hi guys, thanks for joining me. So let's dig into the justify question. Enormously important because across the two papers you've got to do 4 of these, 2 justified questions in each paper. So let's just see how important that is. It actually represents 20% of your final grade, given you've got 18 marks out of 90 in each paper down to this justify question. Okay, so the key elements in relation to the justify question. Firstly, you can see that you're being assessed on your AO2, which is your ability to actually make application throughout your answer. I would suggest that to reach top band, top level, you need to include at least 4 direct pieces of application. We'll see many of the exemplars that we're going to have a look at include actually more than that. But if you've got 2 in your first paragraph, 1 in your second, and 1 in your judgment, I think you will have enough to reach top level. Moving through, you also have got to bear in mind that you need 5 linked strands of interconnected points. So that is that BLT plus MC structure. So you identify your points, you identify the option you prefer. This is because, leads to, therefore, moreover, consequently. That will help you reach top level for your analysis. And then your evaluation, well, this is about making judgments as well as a counter argument to the point that you are actually making. So you've got to make sure that you include a good judgment here. So overall, the structure that you want to try and use is this. Okay, so paragraph 1, you identify your point, whichever option you prefer, you go with that, and then you say this is because, leads to, therefore, and then you've got moreover, consequently. But remember to include that application. Remember what I said here, at least 2 pieces in this first paragraph, because it is going to be a longish paragraph, that one. Now, paragraph 2 should be a counter-argument, so you should focus on perhaps the big disadvantages facing the option that you've chosen. You identify what that disadvantage is, or alternatively the advantage of going for the alternative option that you've been given, and then you say this is because, leads to, therefore, and you include at least 1 piece of application. And then, this is really important, you use an aim judgment. So this is where you answer the question and justify your answer. You say what that answer may depend upon and what you think is most important for the firm and why. Right, so let's have a little look at the case study that we've got here. So this is for frog bikes. Now, by all means, pause the video now to have a go going through this case study and getting some really, really fine pieces of application out of here. Okay, so here's the question in relation to that case study. We can see that we've got these 2 direct options here, option 1 and option 2. Justify which one of these 2 options frog bikes should choose. Okay, so the first thing to bear in mind really is that whichever of those you feel you can write more about, that you've got more to say about from a business standpoint, you should choose that option, and then you should do your detailed paragraph on that particular option. So let's have a look at what this student has put down here. Okay, so in this this first paragraph of the answer, we can see that there's 5 interconnected points of development. We can see that there's some good terminology, which is just highlighted in bold here. So including fixed cost, total cost, as well as our application throughout this answer. So you can see 3 pieces of application highlighted in orange here. Now, pause the video if you want to have a good read of that now. Okay, one of the points I really liked about this was that the student was showing awareness that the peak season in terms of bike sales is likely, of course, to be the summer. So that's a really nice application there. So let's move it through to what should now be a counter-argument. So arguing against the option that has been chosen to expand production of the Chinese factory. Okay, so now focusing on, however, ethically, many consumers might prefer to have the bikes and gears manufactured in the UK. All right, again, we've got some really strong application here. So 2 more pieces of application. We can see that this point is actually developed, and it's developed again here. So this is looking like a very strong answer here. And the use of terminology is good as well, key terms that are actually included here. So we've got ethically, employee, competitor, sales, profits, and so on. So that's all good to see. And now let's have a look at the judgment that we've got here. So yes, it depends how ethically moral the majority of parents are in relation to whether they buy from Frog Bikes or a competitor. So that's another good point. Now, here the student is again giving another piece of application where they're essentially saying that most parents aren't really going to worry about where the bikes are actually produced, whether it's in Britain or whether it's China. So therefore, it makes sense to go for the lower cost site. So that really does help support their argument very nicely. This could have been counter-argued again by it depends upon the level of tariffs on bikes, for instance. That would have been a nice way of going. But nevertheless, this is a really high quality answer overall. You can see the structure is excellent. It really does fit the bill in terms of responding well to this question, and so this would receive level 3 in terms of application, level 3 analysis, and level 3 evaluation. So really strong answer. Let's move it on and have a look at another one then. So here we've got another case study for another sample theme 1 paper. This one's about Zoella, so by all means practice your BMC Scoper approach here to extracting some really fine information from this case study. And so here we go. We've got the question up here. Zoella Beauty considering 2 options to develop the marketing mix of its beauty product line. Option 1 to increase promotion, or option 2 reduce prices. So justify which one. So again, remember that structure that we should have 5 interconnected points of development in this first paragraph. So that is that ID, BLT plus MC with at least 2 pieces of application. Again, we've got 3 pieces of application that you can see that I've highlighted there. So that's good stuff, and we can see the actual structure here is really fine and actually uses this is because, leads to, therefore, moreover, consequently. Really lovely stuff. This is our counter argument. Okay, so now this is focusing on how competitive the actual market is, looking at competitors and using the numerical information that was actually in the answer there. So again, that's a really lovely response there. Now finally, here's our judgment. Again, the judgment has sustained the application throughout this answer, and once again, if you pause this and read through this, you will see that this is once again a top level answer. This is 9 out of 9, and arguably is actually a stronger answer than the first one we looked at there. So just bear in mind, in relation to these justify questions, you're looking at 3 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is going to be very detailed and include at least 2 pieces of application. Your second paragraph is slightly less detailed, but will still include application, and try to aim for developing your point from 3 perspectives. So this because, leads to, therefore, and then you've got to make sure that you provide a really fine judgment in response to that particular question and that business case study. Great stuff, guys. I hope that's been useful. See you next time.